Hello one and all, and welcome back to The Witcher 2, which may well be, in fact more than likely, definitely will be the very last time. Hello, my name is Verax, we're here at the end game, we have to go and find Letho. After dealing with the dragon and everything else, Triss is still a bit beaten up. Poor lass. But, you know, I've had time to forge a set of armor and get a new hairstyle, so you really should wipe your face a little bit, you know, maybe she's going for the sympathy vote, I don't know. Anyway. Yep, here we go. Down here. Down here? Ooh. It looks as though, as well, somebody said that I have reached the maximum level of the game, which I guess makes sense because the amount of experience you get is kind of fixed, isn't it? The amount of experience you get from killing monsters and such is minimal, so you get it all from doing quests and stuff. And as I have done most of the quests in the game. Oh, doggy! Glad you survived. That was a big horrible thing out there. It makes sense that, you know, we've kind of maxed out the character. I guess. And here I am, still looking for loot. It's the end of the game, man. Of course, Geralt doesn't know that. I mean, yeah, it's towards the end of this whole saga and stuff, but it's not like life just stops straight afterwards. And everything's a happy ending and stuff. Right, we've got to go through here. There's more ways with this. Oh, God. Oh.
I think he's coming too.
Oh, bollocks. The whoreson's in agony. Won't be long now.
Look at that. The cleverest of elven bandits, beaten burnt like ordinary scum.
This is the handiwork of some mage. I'd wager my wife on it.
You shouldn't have taken that trinket. You know they'll ask what he had on him.
And you'll not peep a word. Understand?
Hey you, piss off. We've got a dangerous prisoner here.
A prisoner? Did you capture him?
None of your concern. Buzz off, freak.
Oh, I think it is my concern.
Any idea what happened?
You asked for it!
I'm behind you! Behind you, Triss. Behind you!
Die!
Oof. Iorveth! I was wondering what happened to you. I haven't seen you since the start of the chapter. Well, first, loot. No, okay, let's go on. Can we help him? I mean, oh wait, is there an? Oh, for God's sakes! We'll settle this with the wrong sword, damn it! Make you suffer. There we go. Where do you get the stuff from?
Want to tell me what that was about?
It's Iorveth. I owed him that much.
I guess I missed quite a bit.
Yeah. Can you help him?
I'm sorry, Geralt. This was high magic. Treating him will take time, maybe months.
I'm gonna miss the Kingslayer again. Stay with him, Triss. I'll be back for you when this is over.
Geralt.
This is between me and him.
You don't have to.
I do. He knows how I lost my memory.
The magic shield came down when the deliberations ended. I'll teleport Iorveth out of here, far away to Vergen.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
It's kind of nice how you you separate like that. I don't know whether it's it'll be Roach lying there if you end up with him, because we still don't know what happens to Roach. All right. So she's gonna tend to Iorveth, which is only right. We would take care of him. Well, not take care, you know, wouldn't just abandon him. Yep, I'm taking them. I am absolutely... Oh, hello. It's a... Is it a quest item? What's quest? It is! And I can actually equip it. It's not very good, obviously, but... So that was clearly... Philippa had something to do with Iorveth's little... Well, his state right now. Okay. I wonder if I can talk to him. I mean, I know he's like half dead and stuff, more than half dead, but... No, okay. Well, stop looking at him and do stuff. Loots? Now I hope that I'm assuming it's going to be a fight. We've sort of already had the end boss being the dragon, which would make sense, but kind of also makes sense. Ooh, that we are going to fight Letho. I hope it's sort of signposted pretty well so that I can take potions and stuff before it, because one of the things about this game is that the signposts, hello, the potions have been of marginal use because of the way the game is structured.
This is no place for witches. Though I know you and you appear wherever something important happens.
True, though sometimes by accident.
And this time, also a coincidence?
Let's say I have something to take care of.
In that case, hurry. Once we're done cleaning up this mess created by the royal soldiery, Loch Muin will be magically sealed.
Getting out of here?
Temporarily. We shall return soon enough to rebuild the city. Loch Muin will regain its former glory. Until that time, we need to keep the treasure hunters and troublemakers out.
So Radovid trusts you?
We shall win His Royal Majesty's trust by delivering Sheila de Tansarville and the other traitresses from the lodge.
That could take a while. Sheila's fled Loch Muin via megascope.
We have time. She cannot hide forever. Sooner or later, she will be ours. Forgive me, I must attend to some matters. And don't dawdle. The city will be sealed in 1 hour.
What a neat trick. Yeah, but, I mean, really? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go through here. Well, I guess it is signposted. I'm not going to take any potions now, because there's likely to be a long conversation here, which might not even end it with a fight. Actually, I think I will. It makes sense, doesn't it? Nope, that. It makes sense that we just have a few. For example, I don't think... Let's have a look. More resistances, probably a nice idea. We don't need cats. We'll have some swallow, and we'll have some tawny owl. I can put oils on and stuff just before the fight, if there is a fight. We might just have a nice little chat and go on our merry way, you know. Here we go.
Took you a while?
Is that bauble from Sheila's megascope?
Mm-hmm. My final prank. I switched the diamonds. The one in the megascope has a flaw. Minute. But just large enough to warp the teleport. The Emperor's magic theorists assured me the effect would be spectacular.
I let her escape.
You're heartless. You've no idea what the royal witch hunters have in store for her. A lot of pain for a long time.
I don't doubt it. So, ready to lay your cards out on the table?
No matter the game. There comes a point when all the players need to show their cards. I love that moment. But first... vodka?
I only drink with friends.
What about old acquaintances? Eh? Recovered your memory yet?
Not entirely.
Remember how we first met?
Yeah, I saved your life. Couldn't think of a nicer way to pay me back?
Frankly, I couldn't. I mean, taking care of another man's woman, Yennefer. I can't fathom what you saw in her, but I suppose there's no accounting for taste.
The winter solstice, 1270. Midinvern, the night of magic. Letho wasn't lying, the hunt had stopped. At the Hanged Man's Tree, the spectral riders selected from among those they had taken. Yennefer was among them. A wraith cannot be killed, only driven away. Every witcher knows that. Yet the riders fell beneath the blows of our witcher's blades. Crimson blood flowed from under their dead men's armor. We could not kill them all. They were simply too many. A stalemate. He was different from all other elves. There was no shame in his gaze. He had never suffered persecution. He had endured no massacres. Humans had not taken his land. This elf was not of this world. He was an invader. We struck a deal. My soul for that of Yennefer. He agreed without hesitation.
Back with me, friend. Got the feeling you left for a minute.
Memories. I remember the Hanged Man's Tree and the Wild Hunt. I remember the exchange. Me for Yennefer.
So, cards out on the table. Unless you chase me all that way just to kill me.
I chased you for lots of reasons. You owe me some explanations to start with.
Let's say I do.
Care to tell me what it was all about?
Kill as many rulers as we could. Lay the blame on the sorceresses. Breed chaos. Prepare the north. Soften it before the invasion. And you know what's incredible? We could not have imagined more fertile soil. No matter what the war's outcome, the northern monarchs will accuse one another. Pursue their God-given rights. Seek vengeance and be at each other's throats for years to come. The North resembles a whorehouse on fire, as your friend Dandelion would say.
Oh, I should have maybe done the other one. Alright.
No, the North...
Oh, so many. We got a lot of conversations here, which is why I was dubious about taking the potions to start with, because they're counting down even as we speak, which makes sense, I suppose, because this is happening in real time and everything, except they're just stood impassively staring at each other now because I'm interjecting my thoughts. But it's this reason that the potions don't really work so well, because you can take them before a fight, then you have this long conversation. And then they're not there anymore when you're finished, so then you have to reload, skip all this, and then do it, and it's not intuitive, you know. Because there's so much to go through here. Let's start at the beginning.
How did you manage to contact Sheila?
It wasn't a problem once I learned of the Lodge's existence. Initially, she watched my every move. But sooner or later, everyone starts treating me like a big oaf. I mean, I can't change how I look. I stayed close to Sheila, killed a few beasts for her, and whined about how unhappy I was, how unfair the world was. So much, in fact, that I actually got her gander up a few times. I made sure a few potentially trustworthy witnesses saw us together. could link us. Security in case I was captured. I also prepared to assassinate the King of Kavir. Esterad Tyson was to be the first victim of the mysterious assassins. But before I could do the dirty deed, Sheila asked me to slay Demavend. The gods had smiled upon me. I couldn't believe my luck. Here I've been trying to figure out how to frame Sheila, and now all I needed was to carry out her orders and follow through.
Where'd you get your information about the Lodge?
From the Emperor and Vatir de Rideau, the Emperor's chief spy. And I believe they got it out of Yennefer.
She recovered her memory?
Nah. I'd never claim she informed on her friends consciously. I expect they found a way to tap into her memory in spite of her amnesia, and without her knowing it. There was a sorcerer present when I was questioned. A young, proud intelligence officer. Whatever the case, they gave me a list of the sorceresses in the lodge. Only Emir, Vatir, and I were present. Only we knew of the mission.
How'd you manage to slay Demavend?
Sheila's magic. I mean, she could give us the king's every move. His habits, the positions of the palace guards, anything. All we had to do was navigate the labyrinth and land the final blow. Besides, she had plenty of gold for the preparations. Greased palms abundantly. It had all the makings of a cakewalk, but it's never that easy. We barely avoided our pursuers, and we wouldn't have if not for Iorveth's Scoia'tael, another of Sheila's ideas. With Iorveth's elves, not only did we cut down Demavend, but traveling with them put us out of the Lodge's reach. We could calmly plan Foltest's and Hensel's assassinations.
How did you know Foltest would come to the monastery's solar?
Iorveth and I planned Foltest's murder. The King of Temeria would have to deal with the Lavalette sooner or later, and he made no secret of it. I was sure he'd want to recover his bastard children in the process. And where do they take the children when a castle's under siege? I had to become a monk, but I couldn't just arrive at the monastery and claim I'd see the light. Not very believable. So one of Arian's patrols out in the forests happened on a Scoia'tael unit torturing a helpless monk. Arian's brave men drove off the elves and I found shelter in the monastery.
No one noticed you had no wounds?
I paid the monk who treated me a lot of orange to stay silent. Actually, it was only a loan, because I killed him later. Only the dead can keep a secret. Then all I had to do was wait for the situation to develop. When I saw you enter the chamber with Foltest, I thought I might fail. Luckily, you failed. To recognize an old friend.
When did you decide to get rid of Iorveth?
As soon as I realized I couldn't manipulate him. A true fox, that one. He was so observant, so dangerous. I got the sense he might see through me at any moment.
You made a mistake. You were untouchable as long as the Scoia'tael were protecting you.
Maybe, but with Iorveth, my hands were tied. If I'd finished off Kieran...
But you didn't. And that allowed me to drive a wedge between you and Iorveth. I forced you to flee.
And I let you live. You know I could have killed you. You're forgetting.
No, I remember.
Yeah, that fight where I... In the instance where I beat you, I completely beat you, but then of course you let me live. And yeah.
So Sheila was looking for you when she came to Flotsam.
Mm-hmm. She thought she was still in control and wanted to get rid of me. I'd bet my eyes that she thought I'd lost my mind, or that Iorveth was manipulating me.
And the North descended deeper into chaos.
I could have killed you in the Elven ruins. Thing is, you weren't really my enemy.
You screwed up with Henselt.
Sabrina's curse tore that down. First off, we got holed up in that hideout in the ravines. Then Sheila showed up and started watching Henselt like he was her own ass. By that time, his death was no longer necessary. Fate had smiled upon us again. I learned of the summit and the efforts to reconstitute the council and conclave. The ideal setting for the mission's grand finale.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a whole lot of backstory.
Why are you still here? Why did you wait for me this time?
I knew you wouldn't give up. I knew you'd pursue me. And I don't aim to hide anymore. Fact is, only you know the truth about me. Well, and a couple of folks whose word isn't worth spit anymore. I never saw you as a foe. I want to go my way. But if I have to fight you first, so be it. This story ends here and now.
Well, that would be a fitting way to put this finishes, but I still have further questions, I'm afraid.
How did a Witcher agree to kill humans at another human's bidding?
At the Emperor's bidding, Geralt. And he's no ordinary human. The rulers of the North come up to about where his Pauline's end.
Why?
Simple. He promised to rebuild the School of the Viper, the Witcher's order where I came to be. Witcher's schools in the south fell into ruin long ago, and Witchers themselves became internal exiles, banned from entering most cities. Besides Seret and Ox, I know of 2 other Witchers of the School of the Viper who should be alive and on the path. I don't know where they are. Haven't seen them for years. Now they can come out of hiding. They can come home.
How did you know where we'd find the Wild Hunt?
Every Witcher who wears the Viper around his neck knows the place. We had so many books and scrolls about the hunt that I used to think our school was founded for the very purpose of solving the riddle of the spectral riders.
Know who they are? You know the true identities of the riders?
From what I understand, they're some damn elven race. But they turned out to be a big ruse. The legendary omen of war proved to be a fairground attraction.
No Market Square mage could possibly conjure up a cavalcade of wraiths speeding across the sky. Then there's the amnesia. No, there's something more, I assure you.
Go ahead, enlighten me. I can tell you want to.
There are a lot of legends and myths about it, but the Wild Hunt is a fact. I've fought and killed many of its wraiths. They were spectral emanations, the avatars of real riders. The riders we ran into by the Hanged Man's Tree.
Are you telling me you were carried off by elves? Real material sons of bitches like the ordinary kind we deal with in this world?
They may be ordinary in their world, but they're strangers in ours. The conjunction of spheres. Know the theory? Do you know how monsters appeared in our world?
There's not a Witcher who doesn't know that.
So you know there are other spheres. The most powerful of our mages can open passages between these worlds, and they usually do that to summon the monsters we then have to hunt. The elves we saw come from another world, and they weren't summoned. They found the way on their own. It's not exactly easy, so they usually send their spectral emanations. They come in person on special missions.
As they did for you and Yennefer. So, elves from another world and their trained wraiths. What do they want from you?
I've got an idea, but that's not your concern. Tell me about Yennefer. What happened after I departed?
She was feverish for several days, delirious, in agony. We thought that was it. She was on her way out. Somehow she recovered. But even then, she was disoriented. Amnesia like you.
What then?
Well, the woman turned out to be quite a character. Throwing temper tantrums, trying to seduce orcs, trying to drive a wedge between us. After you so nobly sacrificed yourself, we thought it'd be dumb just to leave her somewhere. She wouldn't have survived more than a month. The whims and vigor of a duchess, but she was just a sorceress with no memory. We were in the heart of the Empire. And as I'm sure you know, Geralt, in Nilfgaard, mages who behave like that either drop their bad habits quickly, or are drawn and quartered by horses in the middle of Victory Square.
So I heard.
So we set out, wandered through the provinces. Everywhere we went, she got in trouble and we pulled her out. And then one day they captured us. The Imperial Secret Police. Me, Ox, Sarah, and Yennefer.
Imperial Secret Police?
Mm-hmm. We were separated, and they questioned us. Long and thoroughly, but it was uneventful, no violence. That's how I met Vatia de Rideau. And a couple of weeks later, the Emperor himself. Me. A simple witcher.
What happened to Yennefer?
I don't know. Never saw her again. The Emperor offered me a mission in the Northern Kingdoms. As for Yennefer, I had the feeling she was somehow important to Emir. As I see it, they learned of the Lodge from her. Those Imperial spooks have their ways. All I heard is that Vatir had his men watch Yennefer closely throughout the time she was at the palace. Then we went off to slay the kings of the north. And that's where my knowledge ends.
So she's in the Empire.
She was when I left.
I'm done talking. Let's finish this.
Want to fight?
Any vodka left in that bottle?
A swig apiece. Here. The Imperial army is probably crossing the Yaruga as we speak. Pure pandemonium will ensue. The North's finished. Time to go south, where the good life awaits.
You're a fool, Letho. Both you and your Emperor are forgetting one thing. Misfortune brings people together. Very shortly, the North could be united like never before, thanks to you. But that's just not my concern anymore.
I'm not your foe. I never was. Let me walk away and I will. You'll never see me again. Force me to fight, and this time I'll kill you.
Yeah, I was afraid I was going to make the decision. I can't put my finger on why Geralt would fight this guy, because he's had his own agenda and everything. And aside from screwing the Witcher over when he killed Henselt at the start of the game, was it Henselt? I think it was Henselt. And obviously stopping him from going free and everything. He hasn't, he took Triss away, but didn't hurt her that much at all. Did he hurt her? I can't even remember it. Oh god, I wish I could remember this sort of stuff. It's the thing we've played this once a week. But I really don't think that he... No, he didn't. He didn't. And so he left her. He let me live when he beat me. So the only real reason that I can truly, honestly, right now think about why I would fight him is because it's the last video. It'd be a good show.
I've learned all I wanted to know. I can feel the memories coming back. Your death won't change a thing. Go where you will.
Just like that. No threats. No words of wisdom.
You going or not?
Farewell, Geralt.
The Witcher had traveled far and wide in search of the Kingslayers. Along the way, he had met both the righteous and scoundrels, Bernard Laredo amongst the latter. Laredo sold Flotsam to Kedwin and scattered the local non-humans to the four winds. Flotsam became a military base. Its civilian population was resettled. In Edirn, the Witcher witnessed Saskia the Dragonslayer achieve a great victory. The Pontar Valley, previously Upper Edirn, became a promised land for outcasts who dared dream of freedom. Even sly old Zoltan Chive came to believe in this land of bliss. Yet dark times approached for the architects of the New Order. Dark clouds had been gathering over Temeria since Foltest's death. Stripped of its king, the land was like a rich cloth which nobles began to shred. These minor scavengers, however, scurried off in fear when true predators reached out for their prize. The summit at Loch Muin sealed the fate of Foltest's realm, when Radovid of Redania and Henselt of Kedwin divided it between them. Years before, Geralt of Rivia had witnessed the fall of the Council and Conclave of Mages. The summit in Loch Muin re-established both bodies, their founders sacrificing Sheila de Tanzerville and her accomplices. Yet Radovid also required humility and loyalty from the proud mages, but this did not sit well with all of them. It was a time of great uncertainty, of rape accomplished by royal decree. Yet as troubled as the days seemed, we, who had in some way shaped the world's fate, finally received some respite. Zoltan resumed the quest for his beloved's hand, and I laid my head in the laps of the muses. Who could have known this tempest which had ravaged the north was but a harbinger of darker days, and the preamble to an entirely new tale of Geralt of Rivia.
View the credits to see the game ending? Oh, I see. Yeah, if I wanted to watch that again, or... Well, there we go! That was The Witcher 2. I did not fight Letho in the end. I couldn't really, like I say, find a reason to fight him other than to put on a show and to... because it's sort of done, you know, isn't it? To have a big fight at the end, but... I don't think Geralt's motivation was there. He sort of like had everything that he had when he started out at the, you know, at the first game, more or less. You know, he had Triss. Triss was alright. All decked out in nice armor and everything. Alright, so he didn't really have the backing of a king. But in this game, beggars can't be choosers and all that. And yeah, I really just couldn't bring myself to fight Letho. Plus, according to the canon of the game, Letho's better than Geralt, so he might have killed him. Who knows? Wonder what happened to Roach. There's so much happened in this game. That was one of the things about playing it every week that I did. There's good things and bad things with that. I mean, the bad thing obviously is because I play it over such a long time, months and months and months and months, things that happen at the start and in the mid-game, I tend to forget the details off towards the end and such, so it's difficult to piece together all of the details of the plot and such when it refers to it. But at the same time, I get your input and such, because I have played games before where I've just played the entire game all the way through before I've even started uploading it. But in doing so, you completely disregard viewers' opinions and any help and tips they might give you. So you're not getting the input from people, and then it's sort of like, well, why bother Let's Playing in the first place where you're not going to listen to comments? So it's kind of difficult. So the only other thing you can do is to upload more often, but I'm not sure if I'd have to alter things to do that. But anyway, that's just by the by. So the actual game itself. Let's get into that. Brilliant, awesome, fantastic. It's hard to fault it really. There's so much detail in it. That's one thing that really struck me. Like with all, not just the environments, even though them themselves are highly detailed and so well thought out, but just the clothes that people are wearing, the detail that's in the that's in the clothing and what people are wearing, basically. It also differs, like the regalias of the kings and all the details and everything. It's so fantastic, the work that went into it. It's so like visceral and tactile. How it all, it's so gritty and real. You really do think that this world could exist and that you are there. And I think that The Witcher does that job a lot better than many other fantasy games, because it really does feel like it is there, and it's so real. So well done to the makers for that. Well, if I gotta criticize it for some things, it can be a bit clunky at times. Ladders not good, ladders normally get I remember 2 times when ladders spoiled my immersion of the game a little bit, but that's just freaking ladders, isn't it? And bad game designers for putting ladders in the game, because there is never any need for ladders. Just use some stairs. In both cases it would have been fine. Freaking ladders. I got the feeling that a lot of the time, like, this game tells an awesome story. The plot, the characters, the writing, everything is fantastic, and the game is trying to tell the story within the game. And sometimes I almost felt like the game was getting in the way of the story. An example being at the end of Chapter 1 in Flotsam, when you make the choice of either going after Laredo or saving the women in the tower. The choice should have been, the choice is what matters, because what you have to do if you save the women in the tower is go up 2 flight ladders again, go up 2 or 3 ladders, and then click repeatedly to free them of their bonds. You don't need that. You do not need that. That just doesn't work. And if you don't do it quick enough, then you burn to death. But that doesn't add anything to it. The choice is what matters. Once you open that tower, cutscene, you save the women, done. You don't need that. Much the same with it's weird, like when sneaking in the camp, the second camp, the army camp, you get caught and you get shot and you die, and that really just spoils things for me a little bit, especially when somebody says you get caught at the end anyway. Why not just have the cutscene, because you get caught regardless, and I realize it's difficult to explore every single avenue, and you've got to have consequences for failure, and they can't write every single eventuality within the game. I get that, but that was quite jarring, the fact that you get caught and you get shot and you're dead, so you got to do it again. And because you know that you can just save and try a bit over and over again, with a reload being the worst thing that'll happen to you, it spoils it. It does. It takes the tension out of it. It's why sort of games like Dark Souls and such work so well, because death has consequences. It's not just a reload. So I do like when games put stuff in there to mitigate that. Anyway, big thanks to you guys. Awesome. A couple of you been with me through the entire thing. I've written a couple of names down. It's not exclusive, but I just want to say thank you very, very much to Cheetah, Ricochet, FK, Froster, Sora, Alexis, Yosaki, Vin, Cheesy Bob, Way Too Much Users, and Cyber Director Freedom. And I have to say that way too many users, and especially Cyber Director Freedom, get special mentions because they really wrote consistently very long comments. Cyber wins the award for writing an essay for every single comment he wrote. He really enjoyed the Let's Play, I can tell. I really hope he did, because he's just written so much in the comments, and so much detail, and so thoughtful. So thank you very much to him, and all of you who have been watching throughout this. It's really been a pleasure to play it. It really has, and I really look forward to playing the third game. And indeed, Chapter 2. I want to talk a little bit about Chapter 2 because the game is quite short relatively, but I think it's because they had the Chapter 2 is effectively like completely different depending on which way you go with it. I'm actually thinking about relatively soon playing Chapter 2 with going in Iorveth's path rather than Roach's, just to see what it was like. Somebody, it might have been Cyber actually, asked maybe I would stream it, but I think I'll put it on the channel, because the Let's Play is on the channel. So it'll be like a special little thing. It should only be about 10 videos or so, but even so, that's 10 weeks, isn't it? So I'll just reload it and start from then. I don't know whether I'll do that next week or whether I'll play something else and then come back to it. I'm not really sure. It's whether I miss my Witcher fix, which has been great to play this and every week, and I've really enjoyed immersing myself in the game, and I hope to read the books soon. I know someone's going to say, "Oh, you should read the books." I really hope to do that. I'll buy them and see if I can get them read, because I don't read enough in general anyway. But yeah, it's a really good game. Looks great. Looks really good. There's some little bits where the graphics don't quite work quite as well, where there's some clipping or some odd animations and little things like that, but they are little things, and I do notice them purely because most of the game, 95% of the game, looks absolutely stunning. So when there's a little bit of iffiness to do with it, it does show more than on a subpar game, if you like, where you can sort of like let that go because the graphics aren't so immersive and so brilliant. Another fault with the game, and I don't want to go on about the faults, but it's so easy to I've spoken about the game's good points with just, which is most of it. But yeah, the potions don't really work in it because of the fact that most of the fights you need them for are hidden, if you like, behind a long cutscene. And so you play out the cutscene, you start the fight, and then you die, and then it's like, well, damn. So you've got to reload, then take all the potions, then do the cutscene, and then do the fight again, then do the cutscene. Yeah, and it doesn't really work. It's not natural. They could have made it a little bit better, especially at certain points. Just giving you like a little sort of break where you can, the can buff if you want. Just a bit more clever level design and stuff, but it's a minor thing. I don't want to hate on the game too much because I really have enjoyed this game. I can't really compare it to the first game because it's been so long since I played the first game. I don't want to leave it so long before I play the third, honestly. I think it was a bit too long because I couldn't remember anything about the freaking first game, and that is a disservice to this game because it does talk about it quite a lot and such. And you would get more enjoyment out of it if I guess you knew it, and if you transported your save over. And I'm hoping that I get to do that with the third game. I don't know whether you can or not, but they obviously intended to make a third game with Dandelion's little line at the end. It was a nice little touch as well that Dandelion wrote your journal, because you can't imagine Geralt sat down saying, "Dear diary, today I slew another," it just doesn't work. So, but Dandelion is the bard, he's the one who captures everything, and so it was from Dandelion's perspective as opposed to Geralt's, and so it did, it had a bit of humour in it, and it really works really well. And it's another little sort of kudos to the designers for doing it that way, because you know most of your journal systems within games are written by the player character, and you could be playing a character who could be illiterate, but there he is with his journal saying, "Now I have to go to this cave to find this gem." You know, so nice that you've got that. Makes sense. Not that I'm saying that, you know, Geralt's illiterate, but you know what I mean. Still going. Credit's still going. I'm still talking. Well, that's sort of the awkward bit of the Let's Play where I'm like, well, do I shut up now and let the extremely slow credits continue to roll, or do I keep blabbing on about stuff? Because I don't really know what you guys want to hear me say now. I've praised the game, I've given my little critique on it, I've thanked you guys, and I've sort of covered what I might be doing next, so... yeah, I don't really know. How you guys doing? I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoyed it. I do. I guess if you're still here and you're listening to me blabber on about stuff, then you did. So that's grand. So many different characters in the game. So many. And you could sleep with so many women if you wanted. I know that's sort of Geralt's thing. I know it is. But one thing I do remember about The Witcher 1 is that I didn't sleep around with things. I sort of stuck with Triss. So I did that in this one as well. It's just something that I decided to do with it. I don't really know why. Because if there is a game where you want to play a womanizing kind of character, then this is the perfect one, isn't it? But I decided, for whatever reason, not to. That my incarnation of Geralt would be possibly in love with Triss, even though he's after Yennefer. I know there's a little bit of a conflict there, but it's just the way it goes. And there wasn't so much as Yennefer in the first game, I think, as in this one. But I could be wrong. I don't know, because like I say, I haven't played the first one in so long. So, like I say, I will try and play the third one relatively soon. But yes, I am blabbing now. Oh, something I should talk about. The music. Music is great. I've said this before, and I even had to spend a couple of videos at the start getting the balance just right for you guys, because I turned it down, and you were like, "Ah, the music back up!" Because the music is great. The music is really good. I owned the soundtrack a long time before I actually played the game, so I was familiar with a lot of it. And the style of it's really good, because they even have like some heavy guitar riffs in there, which you don't find in fantasy RPGs very often, and you wouldn't think fit, but for some reason it does, because it's done subtly enough that it just, you know, when you have like the choir going as well and everything else going, you just have this sort of chug 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 in the background. It really just adds a grittiness, a meatiness to it that works really well in, say, in the pitched battles. One of the most spectacular things in the game, I feel, in Chapter 2, was the Field of the Dead, where you're going through it with that freaking owl. And it just looks so awesome, and you're fighting those armored dudes. Again, apologies, I know the owl is a character, it's one of the mages, it's Philippa, and I can't remember what the armor things were, but that was honestly probably one of my favourite parts of the game, when you go back and you refight the battle and you fight the big demon thing and stuff. I just feel that I'm not getting across. I don't know the names of people well enough, but that happens. I've heard that, you know, with Game of Thrones as well, when we're talking about it, people at work, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know the brother of the girl who does the thing with the thing," and it's a bit like that. There's a lot goes on, you know. You just get overblown with things, but I do feel that I should know a little bit more about stuff. But that goes back to the whole playing it once a week for 36, 37 weeks or whatever, you know. So I started the game almost, you know, getting on for a year ago, almost, kind of thing, you know. So, but yeah, the game's, I mean, it's short enough. It's a lot shorter than the first game, I think. It feels shorter. It feels more compact. Probably because there's only 3 chapters plus your prologue, and it just feels a lot more compact. Not that that's a bad thing, really. You feel more engaged, I suppose, with it, because you're at these locations for so long. Something I did like as well was the fact that you have a lot of quests, but it never really seems overpowering. One of the things with Dragon Age I found was that suddenly you had loads of quests for lots of different factions and stuff, as well as the main quest and a bunch of other daft things, and there was a lot to take in, whereas in this, because it's so localized, you could quite easily like go from one to the other, and you know it's within your vicinity, and so yeah, I never really got overpowered with number of quests, if you like, but there was still enough to keep you interested, and the game does have a sense of humor as well, which is nice, you know, with the that carrot trophy, which I kept throughout the entire game. I didn't wear it. I know some people probably would wear it through the entire game, so you've got these really heavy scenes, and there's Geralt with a carrot on his nose. I know you could do that. It's not a bad item. There was crafting as well, but thankfully the crafting wasn't really too intrusive. It was kind of required, but then again, you know, the potions never really worked as well as maybe they should, so you could get away with it, I suppose, with not crafting much at all if you didn't want to. Though I decided to get into it. I mean, as a rule, I don't like crafting in games. I think there's too much of it, quite honestly. I do. I think there's too much crafting in a game, though thankfully this game had no cutting down freaking trees. But yeah, crafting is just, it just seems like every game must have crafting now. But I don't think this game put it in for the sake of it. Again, I don't remember whether the first game had it, but I know it had potion making. So this just built on that. But yeah, I don't get the whole crafting thing. I don't see. I suppose it's a bit more involved than just having money and items to buy. But this game had that anyway. Difficulty, it was fine. I played it on normal mode. I played the introduction on easy, and I played it on normal, and it was fine. Honestly, you know, I didn't really have much trouble at all, so hard mode could have been a thing, but the thing is with my Let's Plays that I like to keep them flowing and going on and stuff, and that's why I was a little bit worried about the only Letho fight, because if you get stuck and you're just playing the same thing over and over again, I've watched Let's Plays of that, and some Let's Players really do well with it, like Zamalf. Don't know if you know Zamalf, but you know him playing games. He plays them so patiently, and so well. The watching, and when he's failing at games, he very rarely rages, and when he does, it's quite funny. But he, you know, he just takes it so slow, and he accepts that it's part of the game. I don't think I'm that sort of person. I would probably start to get a bit annoyed if I struggled and you know, was really, not particularly because the game was difficult, but because I don't want to record myself playing the same fight over and over and over again. So like I say, I was a little bit worried about Letho fight because I heard it was one of the hardest fights in the game, and a bit apprehensive about whether I'd be stuck there, which is why I ended the video, because I think I had maybe 3 or 4 goes, and then just stopped the video and came back the next week and completely pwned him, even though I lost the fight. No, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, with the fighting. So I like to have the difficulty on just about right, which I think it was. I beat the dragon first time, but only just, and that's sort of the difficulty that I want, where I died a few times in the tower on the way up when I was sort of learning what to do, which is fair enough. But I didn't beat it with any particular sort of skill or finesse. I just kind of tanked the dragon, and I only just did, and I can attribute that not because the game was sort of like too easy at the time, but I'm hoping it's because that I forged the right armor, I took time on the weapons, I took time on the runes I put in the weapons, and I used the right attacks at the right time, and I managed to evade just the right amount of attacks and used the Quen sign to You know, to mitigate the damage just enough to win. So a little bit of luck, but you need a little bit of luck, don't you, to get through it. About the magic, the game doesn't really tell you what they do at any stage, as far as I could tell. It kind of assumes that you know from the first game, or maybe it's in that combat. I think the word gladiatorial thing, gladiatorial mode that you can play. Maybe it's within that, and that's when you're supposed to practice and stuff anyway. But yeah, I've still got these post-its on my monitor, so saying what Yard, Urden, I know what Igni is, and Quen and Axie, what they all do. And equally with the dialogue options, when this symbol comes up, it's like, how are you supposed to know what that does? There's a couple of niggly little things, like, you know, I'd like to check my journal before I choose this this dialogue option, but you can't. You're stuck in this dialogue option, and yeah, it's kind of awkward at times, but generally, you know, I'm just picking out the bits that I didn't particularly like. I mean, the battle at the end of Chapter 2 could have been a little bit better as well, because it never felt like we were going to lose. It never felt like we were up against you know, a vast army of soldiers. And I realise that there's sort of limitations with what they can do with how good the graphics are and such. So you can only have so many things on screen. But like I said at the time, if they'd had your allies actually die, you know, and they were sort of scripted to die, you know, at least to a degree, over a certain amount of time, so there was less and less of you, until then the end there's only you and Saskia holding them off, but you just about managed to do it. Or that's when Iorveth appears, you know, with his elves, when there's like a trigger, rather than just you kill this many enemies. Because I don't think any of your allies die, and it sort of takes you out. I mean, I loved that. I loved that fight. It was amazing, but I loved it because I was kicking ass. Basically, I was charming people and throwing them off the edge, and it was so brilliant. You know, it was so powerful. And I was just destroying people and slashing my sword left and right and freezing people and everything. What's not to love in that? But there was no tension. There was no, oh, are we gonna do this? You know, my heart was not pounding because I was afraid of failure. It was because of the exhilaration of destroying these soldiers, because I'd reached the stage in the game where I was pretty powerful. My signs were, you know, pretty much as developed as they were going to be, and I was just mowing these guys down. It was awesome, but it also meant that the battle was a damn squib, because you are that powerful and your enemies were just falling to you. You know, it didn't feel like a pitched battle. It felt like you winning the battle, and nothing else really happened. I know they put the trolls in there, but that didn't really seem to do anything either. It's like, you save the trolls, but you don't save them. You don't kill any. And I got the troll achievement. I didn't kill any trolls in the game. Hooray for that. But yeah, it didn't feel like you were part of a bigger thing. It just seemed like you running around killing all the enemies while there was people around distracting them, I suppose, which was a shame. But you know, I'm giving a lot of sort of negativity here. I mean, it's not really, because, like I say, I really enjoyed that fight. I thought it was fantastic, and the fight in the fields and everything. The Chiron fight was pretty good as well. I didn't have the trap thing, but you know, I don't normally like boss fights like that, but that one just seemed to work pretty well. Yeah, the whole you have to do this or you die. You know, if you go in this direction, you'll die, but if you're in this direction, you'll live. Talking about sort of the second phase of the fight, where it's down, but it can still, you know, thrash at you in certain directions, and you've got to run up that. Got to find a way to run up that collapsed pillar to jump on it. That sort of less so. And that was a tough fight. That was just about right. I know that killed me a bunch of times, but it's all about learning its patterns and stuff. And that's something in games that's never changed, really, has it? You get to a boss fight and it's got this attack pattern, and you gotta learn it. And once you've learned it, you can kill it pretty easy. It's just something that's always been there. It's not really anything you can get get past because they're always going to have these set patterns of attacks. I mean, every enemy in a game does, I guess. But, you know, when it's actually fixed and it does this and then this and then this, it's just a bit... Well, as I say, I didn't mind that fight, but I guess that's because there was only one of them. I'm so glad, though. Another thing. Didn't realize these credits were so long, by the way. I should have just got up and walked away. Quick time events. Hate them. Hates them. When you're sort of fighting and such, it's kind of fine. I mean, you could have just had an actual combat where you don't have armor and stuff, and it's not a quick time event, but you're actually blocking and hitting and blocking. You could have done that, but the quick time events worked pretty well in that stage because you were doing like spectacular type of hand-to-hand combat moves, stuff like that. I'm so glad I turned them off though in terms of the actual gameplay, because I can see why they would be a big issue, because I can see sort of where they would be, like at the end of the dragon fight. You run up the tower, that's one sort of stage of the fight, fair enough. You're on the top of the tower, you beat the dragon there, that's another one. And then you're on the dragon. I can see there being one there, and if you don't hit S at the right time, because I was, you know, you're enjoying the cinematic fight that you're watching, then you die. Then the dragon eats you, and you start over again, and that would really annoy me. So I'm glad I turned that up, because I just wanted to sit back and enjoy the dragon fight. You know, when he was riding it, stabbing it in its, you know, his eye, and pulling it back and making it crash. Brilliant. All right, well, it looks like the credits are done, so I shall stop wittering on. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Let's Play. Hope I did it justice. And I'll see you eventually, I guess, for Chapter 2, and if not, then for the next Let's Play. So, cheers very much. And... are we done? We're done. Okay. Oh. I'm glad I didn't stop the recording. Well, that was a surprise. Okay. I'll see ya. Thanks for watching. That's enough from me. Toodaloo.